All right, cool. So I'm gonna start to wrap it a little bit, but before I do, I have a question, which I like to ask everybody, and you've been in the industry for a very long time, so I'd be interested in your answer, which is, what do you think separates an okay developer from a great developer?
It's a great question. Soft skills is going to be what separates you. And well, that's actually, I'm going to give you two phases to this. Okay. Soft skills in general, that's just being able to talk to people and communicate and, being able to converse and not just being introverted, where a lot of developers are introverted. I would say I'm a extroverted introvert. So there's times when I'll be extroverted, and then there's times I just need to retreat away and just recharge. So there's that. So you need to be able to talk to people and communicate. The other thing is, which is probably the most important one in my opinion, or at least has been in my experience, is being able to think like a business. And this is one reason that I get hired a lot for freelancing, contracting, is because companies will say, hey, we want to build this product. And I will build it in a way that's professional, best patterns and practices, so forth. But I'm going to be very pragmatic about it. I might not build the entire application with some crazy clean architecture type of thing, but I'll set it up in a way that it can be if it needs to be. I'll think about and talk to the business owners. What do we need? Like, how agile do we need? When do you need this by? And be very pragmatic about building the solution for them. Because what I've learned, especially with smaller companies and startups, is that they don't know what they don't know yet. Everything's a test. And as you're building something, you have to not be emotionally attached to your code, the thing that you build. There's been many times early in my career that I'd be devastated that we had to throw away this thing that I put so much time and effort into. And nowadays, like, I don't care. Like, all right, I just spent 4 months on building that. You want to throw it away? Hey, I've been paid. Cool, whatever. And I'll have a copy for my own use if I need to do something similar in the future. But being able to think like a business and talk to the business in a way that they understand, not like, hey, we're going to build this with this clean architecture and the MVI pattern. The business stakeholder doesn't care about any of that. Like, they just don't care. They want to know, okay, cool, we need to ship by then. It needs to have this feature. They got to be able to log in. We need a deep link. We need blah, blah, blah. Okay. To me, I'm hearing, okay, I need a deep link. I need this. Okay. I need to make sure that I have a test that covers, at least a login path that covers this. I need some CI set up. I'm not going to sell them on that. I'm just going to go do it. Like, that's just part of the product. Now, I might not build a humongous, crazy architecture. I'm not going to be a super artisanal craftsman software developer for the first version. For that product, for that client. Now, on the flip side, if I'm dealing with a big established company and they've got a team, being able to talk like the business is talking to the product owner at that point, because that's who I'm going to be interfacing with. Like, okay, what do we need to build? Okay, I'm going to follow your patterns and practices that you guys are building, or maybe if you need me to teach you how to do something, I can do that too. But being able to help them accomplish their business goals of what they want to accomplish. Sometimes it's shipping faster. Sometimes it's improving code quality. Sometimes it's improving stability. Sometimes it's something completely different. And often, there's been a couple of times where clients have said, here's what we want to build. We need an app that does this, this, and this. And then I talk to the client, I'm like, we don't need to build this in like native Android. Like, this is basically a Flutter app. Like, you don't know what you don't know yet. Like, we should just build this once with Flutter, and then if it works and it takes off and you guys make money, cool, we'll come back and fix that later. But we don't even know if it's going to work. And the same thing goes for, I was at a Google Developer Experts event in Toronto a few years ago, and me and a couple other GDEs were sitting down with a bunch of startups, and they wanted to ask us questions about their apps. And I think we met with 7 or 8 groups that day. At least half of them, and this is going to sound crazy coming from a native Android developer, half of them, we all agree that they shouldn't be building apps. We're like, this should just be a mobile progressive web app. Like, you don't need an app for that. Like, you're going to save time and money. Just build a website, get people using it, get people paying for it, and you're going to be off. So that's long answer to question 1. The question 2, how to be, not be so, reliant on the kind of finickiness of the freelancing industry. You have to make sure, A, that you're putting yourself out there. And that means always being out in front of people in one way or another. Maybe your thing is writing, so maybe Twitter is your thing, maybe blogging is your thing. Maybe you're good on video, so maybe that's going to be YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. There's a lot of folks out there that have done very well for themselves through these platforms, and are now, people are constantly approaching them for a lot of work. But still, that doesn't, that's still freelancing. For me, what I've found is then selling additional products on the side, which help facilitate something else. Now that's going to be my Jumpstart Android thing, which is a paid product. It's going to be books or ebooks. That's going to be software as a service. Maybe I've realized, hey, a lot of my clients are having this type of problem. What if I just built some service to kind of solve that and charge them a monthly fee? So what that means is having multiple streams of income, and then also kind of looking, what's your long-term goal in life? Is it to be a freelancer all your life? My goal is not to be a freelancer all my life. Freelancing is a means to an end. For me, I don't want to work in software all my life. I'm sure I will. I will love to tinker in it. I have a lot of fun, but I want to be able to wake up one day and be like, you know what? I don't feel like doing anything today, or I'm going to go to the beach and go surfing today. And I want to be able to do that and not worry about, is this bill going to get paid? Is that client going to get that mad? So I'm making investments into the future that hopefully provide me dividends that will then pay me. So everyone's different of how you want to accomplish that. But that's my ways, multiple streams of income. One's going to be usually the nest egg. That's going to be my freelancing and consulting. But the other ones augment it so I can help accomplish other goals in life that I want to get to faster.
Okay. All right. That all makes sense. Very good answer on the developer point, because a lot of people, most people say soft skills, but most people don't mention the fact that it's a huge plus if you can talk to the business in a way that they understand what you're saying, because then often you become that conduit, and then that's how you get more work, because they don't remember that they worked with 6 other developers. They remember that they worked with you because you were the one that they were talking to the most. So
yeah, there's the thing, there was like I know we're wrapping up here, but I'll give us one last little anecdote of that. I was I think I had 8 or 9 years experience at this time. I was very into patterns and practices. I was doing .NET development. I show up at a client where it's an insurance company. To add one drop down item to a drop down list took me 8 hours. One item to a drop down. That's all it was. And I was blown away. And I went and looked through all the code, and I met with the architects of the system. There was 5 of them. And I gave a presentation. I said, look, this app just needs to be rewritten. Like, you can't change anything. It takes forever. Like, this is terrible. Like, you got to rewrite this. And one of the architects just calmly looked at me and just says, we understand. Like, it's very difficult. It's hard. Like, it's not perfect. It's broken. And then they looked at us and were like, but we're not going to rewrite it. And I'm like, well, why not? And they looked at me and said, this piece of software right here generates $5 million a month.
Okay.
And he goes, so that piece of junk, he goes, is insanely valuable. He goes, so we have to slowly learn how to migrate from what we have into something better. And that to me, set off, it just changed my career. It's like, oh, whoa, we can have this huge spaghetti code pile of garbage be insanely useful. And now that it's generating so much money, they have the ability to kind of slow down and break it apart. Now, it doesn't mean create things that are terrible, but it just means, hey, also understand that businesses run a certain way, certain software is built a certain way, and certain decisions were made early on to get the business to that point. And now they're like, okay, we need to come back and fix that.